Whether you're driving the Jeep Wrangler, a JK, or one of the newer JLs, or a Gladiator, the differential is the heart of your drivetrain. I'm showing you how to do a differential fluid change on my Willys EcoDiesel with a Dana 44 M220 axle. Now whether you have a track lock limited slip or a locker, the procedure is exactly the same. This is a simple DIY Jeep project that'll save you a ton of money and keep those gears and clutch packs running smooth for years to come. Now as a retired sheet metal worker, I'm a stickler for the right tools. There's a right way and a leaky way to do this. I had a cover leak on me before, but I learned from it and I've got a couple tricks to show you. You're going to need some 10mm sockets. You'll need a small pry bar, a drain pan for that stinky gear oil, and most importantly, a good quality torque wrench. If you don't have one, an auto parts store will usually loan you one. We're also using Amsoil Severe Gear because it has the friction modifiers already in there. No extra bottles needed. Before we get going too far in the video, your Diff may or may not have a drain plug. If you just simply want to do a drain and fill of new fluid, that's a pretty easy way to do it. Just take the drain plug out and let it come out. A lot of you guys are going to want to check inside and see what your gears actually look like. Make sure there's not metal shavings in there, no broken teeth. I like to do that. And I have another reason. I'm fixing a big mistake I made several years ago when I added aftermarket diffs to my Wrangler. So that's another reason why I'm taking the covers completely off. But if you don't want to take the cover completely off, then you can just do a drain and fill and skip ahead in the video to where I show you how I fill mine. First thing, always make sure you can get the drain plug out before you empty the fluid. It's just a 3/8 ratchet with no socket on it. You don't want to be stuck with an empty diff and no way to fill it up. I'm running an aftermarket Spicer nodular iron diff cover. It's a massive upgrade over the thin stamped steel stock covers if you're hitting the rocks. I'm going to leave the top 2 bolts in loose just so this cover doesn't fall into the pan and splash that stinky oil all over. I'm retired now and I don't need that kind of mess. So there we go. This is going to take a little while to drain. I'm going to give this fluid some time to drain. My diff wasn't warmed up. Jeep's been sitting here in the garage waiting for me to come out and do this. But that's just how it is. I'm going to get as much of the old fluid out as I can. Okay, I'm back under the Jeep, and here's where the magic happens. I'm cleaning the gasket flange until this is spotless. I'm using this round wire brush to clean out all my bolt holes just to make sure there's no debris. There could be old Loctite in these, so I don't want any Loctite in there. You can get a false reading with your torque wrench if you have any debris in these when you go to put your bolts in. I've snapped a bolt before, and trust me, that's a nightmare you don't want. I don't want any of this stuff that I'm scraping off to get inside the diff, so I put this rag here, and hopefully that'll block everything so I can smooth out this paint. So I knocked off all my high spots now. Just going to use this IPA and my lint-free rags. I'm going to use these rags here. They're as lint-free as a rag can get as far as I can tell. If you know of any better lint-free rags, let me know. And I'm going to get this flange nice and clean, oil-free, so my RTV is going to stick. If you're replacing the stock stamped steel diff cover and you're going to be using the reusable gasket, you don't need to be worried about knocking those high spots off like I did. I want my cover sitting a little flat, my aftermarket cover, and that's why I did that. So before I show you the diff cover, I took all my bolts and I wire brushed them. I got them all cleaned up so the threads are clean. There's no old Loctite or anything on them. I've got Loctite. We're going to hit each bolt with a little bit of Loctite before we put them in. And I've got a couple drift pins here, small drift pins. And when I go to put the cover back on, I'm going to use these 2 drift pins to hold it in place. And you'll see when I go to install it exactly why these drift pins are real important. Now, if you're just servicing a stock stamped steel diff cover, then it's a breeze because you're going to reuse your reusable gasket. The big advantage here is wait time. You don't have to wait for RTV to cure before you add your diff fluid. Now, why did I have this reusable gasket on my Spicer diff cover the last 5 years? Honestly, I don't remember what I was thinking back then. Spicer actually included RTV with a kit back then, and I chose to ignore it. But here's what I've learned after installing a couple of these on my Gladiator a few months ago. Spicer specifically tells you to eliminate the reusable gasket. No gasket at all. This nodular iron diff cover is much thicker than the stock stamped steel cover. And if you try to sandwich the gasket in between this cover, the bolts just aren't long enough to get proper engagement in the threads. You risk stripping things out or even worse, a leak. I'm installing this cover the right way today. I'm ditching the reusable gasket and I'm going with the supplied Reinzosil Universal RTV. So I got this cover nice and cleaned up already, but I'm just going to hit this flange one more time with some IPA just to make sure there's absolutely no grease on there at all. So Reinzosil supplies a tip, and I've got this cut. I know it's a good angle because I used it already on several other diff covers. I'm just going to add a nice consistent bead around here, and I can stay inside these bolt holes because these bolt holes aren't going to get any diff fluid on them. They're dry bolts. When I get this on, I'm only going to have a few minutes to run over and install this because this Reinzosil starts skinning over in about 10 minutes or less. I don't want to have too much where I make a mess. Pretty cold today, so this stuff isn't coming out that great. Reinzosil is really strong. You want to be in a nice, well-ventilated area when you're using it. The fumes are no good for you. And this tube's just about empty. Might make it to the end. That doesn't look too bad. Now that's it. Get this over and get it on before this stuff dries. So when I place this cover on, I want to set it right where it goes, and I don't want to be moving it all over the place. You'll see that's why I got my drift pins. Now I got my drift pins and that'll hold it there. Now with my drift pins holding that diff cover on, I got my hands free. Put a drop of blue Loctite on each bolt. So I got bolts all around this thing. Now it's time to remove the drift pins, bolts in these holes. I need to line that up a little. I can use the one drift pin. Last bolt. Right here. I'm sure most of you guys that watching this know, but whenever you're bolting up something like this, always get all your bolts in before you tighten any of them, because you need to still be able to wiggle this thing around to get everything in. Now I'm going to go ahead and snug all these up, and then we'll come back with the torque wrench. I snug all my bolts up in a crisscross pattern, and now I've got the torque wrench, 25 pounds. 25 pounds isn't much, so we want to be super careful. Definitely use a torque wrench. All the bolts are torqued down to 25 foot-pounds in a crisscross pattern. So it's the next morning. I gave the Reinzosil overnight to cure. You need to give it at least 6 hours before you add your diff fluid. It'll be fully cured in about a week. I'm going to use these Amsoil Easy Packs to add my diff fluid. I'm putting 75/90 in the rear because I tow my Exventure trailer, so it'll give me a little extra protection for towing. And I also did my front, which I didn't show you guys, but I did that after I was done showing you the back one. And I'm using 75/85. This is just what I ended up with. Use a 90 in the back, little extra protection. Now, if you're using a diff fluid that doesn't come in an easy pack like this, then you're going to need one of these fluid extractor pumps or something like it to suck the fluid out of the quart bottle, and then you just pump it back into the diff with the tube. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. It's pretty easy. And after I fill it, I'm going to go ahead and drive it around, and then later on, when it all settles, I'll check it again and make sure the level's great. Clean, quiet, and protected. I'm really glad to have the fresh diff fluid in. Good for a few more years now. Now this video isn't sponsored, but I will have links in the description. If you use those links, it doesn't raise the price you pay for the product, and I get a small commission, and it supports the channel, and it really means the world to me to have your support. I'll have a companion article on MuddyRutz.com, the Muddy Rutz Gazette, with a lot more information on this subject. Go check that out. If this helped you, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more Jeep DIY. I'll see you on the next one. And don't forget, on Muddy Rutz, the best is yet to come.